Could you introduce yourselves and where you're based?
I'm Mel Austen. I'm at the University of Plymouth, where I'm a professor of ocean and society.
And I'm Phil Turner. I'm a policy development manager based at the Crown Estate, specifically within the marine planning team, so working around our coastline and offshore environment.
Just tell me who the other members of this very interdisciplinary team are.
So we've got Joe Preston at the University of Portsmouth, who's an ecologist, very much a restoration ecologist as well. And then we've got a new, for me, collaborator called Toby Matthews, who's a coastal he's sort of a hydrologist and modeler. So he's going to be really helping with modeling the water quality parameters. And we've got Angus Garbett at the UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology.
So we'll talk to Angus Garbett next.
Yeah, so I'm Angus Garbett, based at UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology in Bangor. I'm an expert in salt marsh ecology mainly, but I also work across the land-sea interface.
And could you tell me where the idea came from for your PhD project?
The Crown Estate kind of manages a diverse set of assets across the country, ranging from retail and leisure through to the Windsor Estate, different rural land holdings. And in terms of the marine environment, we manage around 50% of the coastline around England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, as well as most of the seabed. And we're really interested in how what we choose to do on land impacts what we're doing on the coast to kind of enhance that environmental and social value across the piece, rather than just looking at these systems in isolation.
The systems piece is really important here, isn't it? It's sort of taking that overview. And I think all of us as a team are really into that sort of how do we link up the whole system. So it really is a big kind of systems thinking project.
There's a real push now to kind of make the link between terrestrial and marine in this land-sea interface space. So this PhD is right at the forefront of that.
Well, I think they're going to do what every PhD student does, sort of try and understand the problem by doing a pretty comprehensive literature review. And I think it will be quite a large literature review, because we're going to have to look at what's happening from catchment to coast, what's happening in terms of restoration, but also what's happening in the ecosystem services that we're trying to restore. From that, I'm hoping that the postgraduate researcher will actually be able to start to, if you like, create a sort of whole systems picture of what that system looks like and where the interconnections might be.
What kind of skill set would you be looking for in a potential candidate for this PhD?
Somebody who's got an open mind to looking at a broad range of factors, somebody who's not necessarily wanting to do a deep dive into one thing, but to actually try and build a bigger picture view.
I know a heap of environmental NGOs that are interested in this kind of wholescape approach, and some stakeholder engagement skill sets to talk to those people would be useful.
I think anybody who can succeed at bringing wholescape systems thinking is going to be very attractive in sort of government and government agencies for policy development, for advice. And of course, then in the research community itself, I think there's going to be a lot of people who would be quite interested to have those skills to do further postdoctoral work and into lecturing.
This PhD, because it's so interdisciplinary, I think it's really good opportunity for the researcher to go into sort of variety of fields, and there are opportunities already to kind of great science feeding into great policy and great delivery as well, to really make a difference, I guess, make a difference to how we kind of view the land-sea interface and how we manage it for climate change, for biodiversity, and for people.
And we want to make sure that applicants put in the best application they can. So could they approach you with questions, and how should they do that?
Probably best if they contact me in the first instance. And then if their questions are specific to sort of areas that the other supervisors, including Phil, are sort of better able to answer, then I can forward them on to them.